Guys, we got the guys coming down in a minute here.
All right, here we go. All right, Albert.
And we're going to be going live with Roger and Dee in a minute.
Okay. I believe George Atala and Greg Aiello, another visual right there.
How about that?
Stepping together.
Players will be represented by DeMaurice Smith, Kevin Mawai, Dominique Foxworth, Jeff Saturday, and Tony Richardson.
And I think you saw Robert Kraft and Jerry Richardson, John Mara, and Commissioner Goodell.
Well, they'll come out, say a few words together, take a couple of questions, and then they'll be on their way, and we'll go back and get to the business of signing the settlement agreement and beginning our process to get back to playing football. So
That's it. Okay. Should be here in a second.
Seeing those guys together is even more of a jarring visual than the commissioner and DeMaurice Smith, because we've seen those guys at the rookie symposium that the NFLPA held, and clearly, but
The
Twitter wars of March and February between those two.
There wasn't a long embrace right there at the podium between those two, but I guess it was long enough.
Well, I'll tell you what, football will heal all wounds. There's no question about that, as that was Greg Aiello and George Atala, who were the chief spokesmen for the league.
And it's about Dee and Roger,
themselves.
and I guarantee you we see a hearty handshake from those guys. I mean, they've accomplished a lot here.
Yeah.
And
Well, here's Greg again.
here we go.
It's time. Big press conference in D.C.
Hey, good afternoon. As I said before, I'm pleased to have Roger Goodell, the Commissioner of the National Football League, with several of the owners who've joined us today. Mr. Richardson, the Chairman of the CEC, Mr. Kraft, Mr. Mara, who've come by today. We're happy that we've got an agreement that
Yes,
we have reached. I'll turn it over to Roger to say a few words, and we'll finish it up.
Thanks, Steve.
You too.
Well, it's been a long time coming, and football's back, and that's the great news for everybody. I want to thank Dee and all of the players for their leadership and for securing the long-term future of the game. Having a 10-year agreement is extraordinarily great for our game, but most importantly, our fans. And everybody worked hard. Everybody had a passion, and everybody believes in this game of football and what we can do to make our game better. And I think this agreement is going to make our game better. So we're grateful for all the work that both parties did to make sure that we came to this day today, and make sure for the fans that we can sit in here and say, football's back. So let me have our chairman, Mr. Richardson, just say a few words.
Thank you. This is a long time coming. I would like to say what a pleasure it's been for us to work with the players in this negotiation. As a former player myself, the relationship and conversations we've developed, I think, will serve us well for a long time. And we're delighted that we have an agreement that's going to serve the NFL, our players, our teams, and our fans for many years to come.
Mr. Kraft?
First of all, I'd like, on behalf of both sides, to apologize to the fans that for the last 5-6 months we've been talking about the business of football and not what goes on the field and building the teams in each market. But the end result is we've been able to have an agreement that I think is going to allow this sport to flourish over the next decade. And we've done that in a way that's unique among the major sports, that every team in our league, all 32, will be competitive. We've improved player safety, and we've remembered the players who have played in the past. You know, I want to give a special compliment to Commissioner Goodell and Dee Smith, because the commissioner has to deal with 32 tough and demanding owners, and he's been able to keep that balance. But DeMaurice Smith has come in, and he's managing 1,900 players, a bunch of different professionals. It's a new CBA with tricky language, and he was able to keep all those things going and come up with an agreement that he and Roger did together with their two teams. And lastly, what kept me at the table the last 4.5 months was seeing the players who represented the player representatives, who represented the league's players. You know, they just didn't look at the short-term interests of their own playing careers, but they look long-term, especially Jeff Saturday and Dominic Foxworth. I was so impressed with them that they acted as principals at the table, looking out for what was good for the game. So I believe you're going to see a very great NFL over the next decade. And I hope we gave a little lesson to the people in Washington, because the debt crisis is a lot easier to fix than this deal was. Thank you.
John.
Thanks. We're obviously very pleased to be standing here today. It's been a long and pretty difficult negotiation, but I think at the end of the day, neither side got everything they wanted, but I think what we did achieve was a fair deal that will stand the test of time and be in the best interest of our league, our players, our clubs, and our fans. I have a lot of respect for the players that we've been negotiating with. They were tough negotiators. They represented their fellow players very well, as did D. Smith. And I think at the end of the day, we have something here that is going to serve the best interest of the National Football League for many years to come.
Probably Robert got us in trouble with the White House, I'm sure. Kevin Mawai, if you could come forward, say a few words.
Jeff, come on.
On behalf of the players of the National Football League, I just want to say it's a great day. We stand on the eve of the day when the football gets back to business, and our players can't be more excited than going back and doing the thing that they love the most. We always said throughout this process that we would do a deal when it's right and when it's the right deal, and our players did that. We stuck it out to the end. We fought our ground, and we worked, with the owners to get a deal that we feel was fair for everybody. And we're excited about today. We're thankful for Dee and for Roger and for their leadership of our groups. I'm thankful for our players that stood together. We stood strong in a time of uncertainty, but more importantly, I want to thank the fans through the roller coaster rides from January for 2 years out till today. You guys have stuck with us. We're here to tell you football's back. It's back for the long term, and we're excited about this season starting. And couldn't have done this without a strong executive committee and our board of players. And but I got to give a tip of the hat to Jeff Saturday and Dominic Foxworth, who since June 28th have not missed a meeting. And a lot of credit goes to those guys for pounding it out and doing the dirty work for us. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff and let Jeff say a couple of words.
Thanks, Kevin. Just to echo what most of these men up here have said is, I think the part that was most impressive to me is when players and owners began to sit across the table from each other and dialogue, things began to happen. And to Kevin's point and to Commissioner Goodell's point, this is a fair deal that we're excited to present to our players. We're excited about the opportunity to get back on the field of doing, instead of being in these meeting rooms, being football meeting rooms, which I'm a big fan of. I would be remiss if I didn't say a special thanks. I know Fox feels exactly the same way, to my wife and to every man's wife who stood beside, and a special thanks to Myra Kraft, who even in her weakest moment allowed Mr. Kraft to come and fight this out. And without him, this deal does not get done. And I don't want to be climatic in any way, but he is a man who helped us save football, and we're so gracious for that. We're gracious for his family and for the opportunity he presented to get this deal done. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thanks a lot.
I think it's all pretty much been said. I feel the same way as Jeff, and I have a tremendous amount of love for Jeff. I think the biggest thing that I needed to say was just a great deal of appreciation for my wife, who's taking care of our 8-month-old daughter and studying for the bar at the same time to allow me to be here. And other than that, I think they just put me up here for eye candy, because obviously I'm more attractive than anyone else who's been up here. And I just like pissing D off as much as possible. And I'm done, guys. Thanks a lot.